Hi everyone, today we got not much of a day. You can see we hit major resistance, found some support, and ended up basically unchanged on the session. But let's take a quick look under the hood and see if we can find anything as we head into the weekend. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. In news today, we got Trump once again calling for Jerome Powell's termination. Termination can't come fast enough. And I do believe Fed Powell came out and said he would step down if Trump asked him to, which I do not think is good for the markets or good for the economy. I think Jerome Powell has actually done a pretty good job considering they have been a little bit slow to certain things, but so far that has not been a major detriment to the markets or to the economy. So far so good on that. But they have clearly had some disagreements, and you can see the comments that Trump put out here. Jerome Powell has been late. The ECB is cutting. Prices are down. Groceries are down, to include oil. U.S. is making money on tariffs, which is arguable, but the ECB is cutting and we are not. So is Jerome Powell a little bit slow on the trigger? Maybe yes, maybe no. But so far that has not been a terrible thing. And honestly, I am more in agreement with Jerome Powell here. I think he has a more level head. Moving over to Fear and Greed, 21 on the day, finishing out the week. So we actually stepped up across the week, but price really did not go really anywhere here today. All of the major indicators are still in extreme fear or fear except for volatility. Volatility continues to come down, and that's not because we're gaining, it's just because we're kind of chopping sideways in here. We did see a pretty substantial pullback in junk bonds as well. That stepped back into neutral. So again, maybe the fears of an immediate recession have kind of tempered a little bit, but markets are still very fearful. Moving over to earnings here just for a second, you can see United Health, they did terrible. They were down huge on the day. And then we got Netflix, they did awesome and they were up on the session. American Express beating on earnings, meeting on the top line. Overall, so far earnings has been okay, but next week is the heavy hitters. We start off with Tesla on the Tuesday. Moving over to the charts, starting off with the S&Ps here, you can see the S&Ps were up about 75 cents, held the level 524.81, could not get above 531.47. So the levels continue to be very important here, and you can see it on the hourly chart. Tried to go higher, hit that 200 SMA, could not get above it for any length of time. And then support was in here, 524.84. You also got the 144 EMA down there on the hourly chart. So clearly in a wedging pattern, and that continues to play out. If it can get above the wedge, then we're looking for this kind of 535 area. If 524 breaks, your next level is this 517 zone, which was the same thesis as yesterday. We were in the same zone. The highs and the lows did not break for the S&Ps. Moving over to the Tasty charts, same thesis here. You can see sideways consolidation, still below all the EMAs and SMAs, but still technically bullish conditions off of that trailing stop. 514.26 is that level. And then the 8 EMA is your resistance, 528.47, and we are still below that. So trapped in this zone, still cannot get above resistance. Moving over to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ was down just 8 cents or 0.02%, basically unchanged on the day as well. In terms of zones, we are still below 446.65. We did go above it pretty substantially mid-session, and then we gave all of that back and finished pretty well below it here. So momentum still bearish, RSI still technically a little bit bullish, holding above the SMA. You can see it here on the session. Similar to the SPY, could not get above that 200, could not hold above 446.65, and then rejected back below it. 144 EMA on the 4-hour chart continues to be support. Right now that is at 443.47. Again, if we can get above the level, 446.65, then we're looking for some trend resistance around 453, maybe even higher around 459, somewhere in here makes sense. But if this structure down here breaks, then you're looking for 432.84 or potentially as low as 421. So we'll see. Right now, pretty much unchanged on the session. Moving over to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, similar thesis to the SPY on the Tasty charts, just like we talked about. Below all the EMAs and SMAs on the 4-hour chart, resistance is still 446.74 for that 8 EMA, but you're still in technically bullish conditions for 33.31 is your support. We have not tested that yet. We have not tested this level here yet either. I suspect that we will, but maybe if we can get above some of these levels, then we could see a bigger push into that kind of 450 area we just talked about. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, the Russell actually had a nice day, $1.50 higher, about 0.82%, got above the 185.63 level, so that looks pretty good. Looking for 189 as a potential zone, momentum bullish, RSI bullish. The Russell is showing a little bit of strength here today, and then you got the Dow down 1.3%. This is mostly because of United Health, like we talked about, gap down and dojied back below 392.44, so that was resistance. You had an opportunity to sell there potentially, looking for that 387.77 level as your next support. Momentum still rolling to bearish, RSI right there, waiting to see if that SMA continues to hold as support. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft. Apple actually was positive 1.39%. Pretty good day for them, right back to that key level at 196.79. Momentum bullish, RSI bullish. So Apple showing a little bit of strength in there. Interesting. Microsoft more in line with what I expected to happen, pushing closer to that 367.07 level. We closed below 372, went right to that next level. We're at it now. Are we going to gap through there and push to 360 potentially? Momentum bearish, RSI right there. On a technical basis, we are below it, 41.81. SMA is 41.92, so right at it, but really slightly below it. So maybe this continues down to the trend here at 357.30. Either way, Microsoft looks a lot weaker than Apple. Moving over to Tesla and NVIDIA. Tesla was unchanged on the day. You can see same zone here, continuing to hold support really, really well as we head into Tesla earnings next week. And then NVIDIA gapped below that trend line, continued to fall, momentum bearish, RSI bearish. 95.74 is the next support. It was down 2.87% on the day. So NVIDIA continuing to roll off here, probably headed back to this range between 90 and 95. Moving over to staples and discretionaries, look at staples, 2.13%. Staples looking really, really good after the 2 down days in a row, held the higher low, pushed back to this level. If it pushes through here, we're probably headed back towards those all-time highs at 84.50 potentially. And then you can see discretionaries also positive on the day, but dojied, you can see right at the level, almost to the penny. 185.36 was my level. We closed at 185.40 and dojied right on top of it. Momentum slightly bullish, but realistically this could go either way. Looks like it's more in line with this wedge pattern. Moving over to 20 and 50-day breadth. Both of these actually held up really, really well on the session. So breadth improving as we head into the weekend. You can see this kind of consolidation in this range. And it'll be interesting to see if we hold in this zone or not. Right now, momentum says we possibly could. RSI on the SMA bouncing from that level and then pushing a little bit higher. So that's a slightly bullish indicator as well. So we'll see, is this zone going to hold up? Structurally, it doesn't look super great right now. Maybe this is a breakdown, retest, breakdown. That could be terrible, but there is also that potential that this SMA holds and we do get a slightly bigger push to the upside. That would be interesting. So watching breadth closely as we head into next week. Moving over to the dollar. Dollar was slightly positive, but basically unchanged, slightly below this 99.83 level. So the dollar has continued to show weakness. Equities have not really gained any strength off of that. And so far, this continues to look bearish. Maybe equities were flat because the dollar has kind of finally flattened out here as well. That's interesting. We are super oversold. Maybe we can find a little bit of strength here. And I can see why people might try to lean a little bit bullish off of these lows. Moving over to J&K and TLT. Interesting here. So J&K finding a nice little move to the upside, over 0.5%. Gapping and rallying through the level 93.67. This looks like a little bit of a foreshadow for a potential run here. I like the move on J&K. Usually this is a little bit of a leading indicator. You got J&K going higher, you got the Russell going higher, so that is a good indicator for some potential bullishness next week. And then looking at TLT, basically unchanged, down about 0.88% or so. Momentum slightly bullish, price action slightly bearish, RSI slightly bearish. Really, as long as this holds above 85.90, we're in good shape. This is the buy zone. This is the sell zone right now. So we're closer to the buys than the sells, but that doesn't mean we can't come down here, retest, and then get another push up potentially. Either way, I kind of like it in this zone. Moving over to the VIX. The VIX was basically unchanged as well. Says it was down 9%, but realistically it's in the same exact zone that we were in 2 days ago. We just gapped up, gapped down into the same zone. Is it going to hold up here? Maybe not at this point. I thought we'd get an acceleration off of this level. If it was going to happen, it really needed to do it today, and it just didn't. So maybe we're going to push back through here. Momentum bearish, RSI bearish, potentially head back towards that 55 EMA in the 23 area. If we did get that move, that should give equities a little bit of room to the upside. So maybe equities are going to find a little bit more legs off of this down move than I previously thought. Moving over to my accounts, I think I ended up losing about $50 on the day, which is not terrible. I traded in and out a couple of times and just didn't work out. We got above the level, tried to go bullish off the level break, obviously pushed right back below it there. Didn't want to trade too aggressively after we broke back below that level and I got stopped out. So I had a couple of good trades, a couple of bad trades, ended up slightly negative on the day. Either way, I think this is a consolidation wedge pattern at this point, so we're neutral, no clear direction, waiting to see what happens. I still want to lean a little bit bearish, but price action held up really well today, and breadth continues to hang in there as well. So for me, that's a lot of mixed indicators, which puts me in the neutral category. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought of Trump's comments, Fed, Powell's comments. What do you think about the job he's done? Is he going to get fired or will he finish out his term? Let me know. And who will replace him? Otherwise, like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.